All right, for my corporate social responsibility paper and presentation, my main focus is on affirmative action. This is a highly relevant topic. As of lately, the United States has become more politically and racially divided. This has extended over into the concept of businesses. For example, evidence for this statement is clear in the 2016 election. As of 2017, the United States has elected Donald Trump to be the 45th president. His campaign was highly divisive, and his rhetoric underlined racial tensions that were previously thought to be non-existent in today's American society. Before discussing the impacts of affirmative action upon businesses, we must establish a working definition. What is affirmative action? To begin, affirmative action prevents employees from adjusting the scores, use of different cutoff scores for, or otherwise altering the result of employee-related tests on the basis of race, color, religion, sex, or national origin. To compensate for this act, human resource managers and employees have instituted the rules and regulations centering upon the concept of adverse impact. This previously stated term provides guidelines designed to protect minorities as defined by the U.S. Civil Service Commission, U.S. Justice Department, Equal Employment Opportunity Commission, and the Department of Labor. Moreover, both adverse impact and affirmative action are legally backed by a multitude of laws. These laws basically set the foundation for affirmative action. These laws include the 13th Amendment, the 14th Amendment, and the Executive Order 11246 and the Civil Rights Act of 1964. Moreover, in employment settings, the protected group cannot be selected or impacted by a rule which they would generally consider any group selection rate in comparison to the majority group at 4/5 or 80% of said selection rate. Neither slavery nor involuntary service expected punishment for crimes whereof shall have duly convicted existence or any place subjected to their jurisdiction. Congress shall not have the power to enforce the article by appropriate legislation. That is the basics of the 13th Amendment. That's one of the foundational pieces of affirmative action, basically outlawing slavery. Affirmative action foundation continued. Consequently, slavery was outlawed by the legislation in the United States. The subsequent amendment, the 14th, relates to the concept of civil rights, specifically Section 1, which states all persons born or naturalized in the United States and subject to the jurisdiction thereof are citizens of the United States and of the states wherein they reside. No state shall make or enforce any law which shall abridge the privileges or immunities of citizens of the United States, nor shall any state deprive any person of life, liberty, or property without due process of law, nor deny any person within its jurisdiction the equal protection of laws. This is the outline of the 14th Amendment, basically stating what the government can do and how business should react. The subsequent law, the foundation of affirmative action, is the Civil Rights Act of 1964. The Civil Rights Act of 1964 prevents discrimination because of race, color, religion, national origin, and in certain places of a public accommodation such as hotels, restaurants, and places of entertainment. That fundamental piece right there sets forth the action in which businesses have to operate within. Businesses cannot discriminate on these bases. Now, it has been extended in recent years to sexual identity, orientation, ethnic origin, along with the other previously stated protected classes. In 1965, President Johnson issued the Executive Order 111246, which states to government contractors take affirmative action into consideration to ensure that applicants are employed and that employees are treated during the employment without regard to their race, color, religion, sex, disability, or national origin. Negative impacts of affirmative action. Now, as controversial as this may be, affirmative action, yes, has helped people be protected from being discriminated. However, there has been a creation of a negative stereotyping surrounding minority applicants that do become employed in throughout the both private and public sectors. The study in question provides evidence that affirmative action policies can have a negative impact on the perception of stereotypes. Subsequent studies bear this conclusion. According to a study conducted by NICE, applicants for jobs are more likely to believe that an individual was the benefactor of affirmative action policies when no other qualification information was presented for minority applicants. In this study, fictional employees were placed in two different employee pools. Pool A was the hired pool. Pool B was hired via an outreach program. The goal of the study was to see if positive job performance reviews would negate assumptions of incompetence via the negative stereotyping that surrounds affirmative action policies. Afterwards, managers assess the recommendations to the fictional employees. It must be noted that these fictional employees had the identical qualifications, thereby removing any other potential impact of such biases. All right. The results of both employee pools were thereby continuing the stereotype that minority candidates are less qualified than non-minority candidates. However, as evident in the study, this is clearly not the case. Similarly, minority candidates in a job setting are more likely to be placed forth extra effort to overcome this stereotype. According to a study conducted by Fain in 2009, minority candidates increase their effort in affirmative action program. The study did a statistical analysis of a multitude of studies related to profit outcomes of businesses that have implemented affirmative action programs. The results concluded that organizations are more profitable when they use affirmative action policies and programs. Negative impacts of affirmative action continue. The study found that the break-even value of K, denoted KB, is found by finding the setting for K equals 0 TG in the setting that expresses equal to T and solving for K. Now, if you have a great statistical understanding like I do, this all makes sense. To most people it doesn't. I'm just mainly throwing this giant equation up here to provide a mathematical and statistical basis for the findings. The main takeaway is that there is a significant range of K values with induced higher levels of effort for K, therefore showing that even though, yes, there is negative stereotyping surrounding affirmative action applicants and individuals employed in a business environment, a vast majority of these individuals put more effort into their job to overcome this discrimination. Therefore, the negative impacts of affirmative action, yes, they are present. However, they can be negated through one's own actions. Business solutions to affirmative action. Now, employees need, especially managers, hiring managers, and others, need to be trained and shown the value of affirmative action. The best solution to do so is to show employees of the previous studies that I outlined in the previous presentation slide, showing that individuals will go above and beyond to overcome the negative impacts of affirmative action. Now, actual programs that businesses can do to overcome these negative stereotypes, there are a multitude of them, the best one being what the NFL did. As for actions businesses can undertake in increasing minority representation in labor force, there are a multitude of options. The goal for most businesses is to go beyond the implementation of affirmative action programs to the continuation and refinement of such programs. Chief among these is the Rooney Rule. The Rooney Rule was established by the former NFL owner of the Pittsburgh Steelers, Dan Rooney, in 2002. The rules stated the following. The rules stated that for all coaching and general manager openings, a minority candidate had to be at the very least the bare minimum qualifications, receive an interview, thereby allowing more minority candidates to get their foot in the door, and therefore allowing individuals to overcome these barriers to employment. A business can implement such policies into their system without breaking any rules regarding employment. All you're doing is interviewing the employee. You're not guaranteeing hiring, you're not showing preferential treatment. Therefore, it is completely legal, and it will increase the potential for minority applicants to be employed, thereby reducing the overall negative impact and adverse impacts that come with affirmative action programs. Here are my references and the end.